Dear friends in kindness, a very happy World Kindness Day from the World Kindness Movement. From where this day originated in 1998, and sometimes I wonder we're 24 years old and still chipping away one kind act at a time. So, we're the real believers, and like you, the Kind Academy, we believe that kindness matters. And coming home to kindness is the key. Because kindness starts with me, the self. If I am good to myself and I can look after myself and understand my needs, then there's a good chance that I'd be kind to others. And of course, then to the planet, the environment, which is in so much of need, as all of us in the pandemic have seen. When you and I have spent time in solitude and have reflected, and when forced to put pen to paper, which I have tried often, I encourage all of you to put pen to paper for this little exercise and start looking at our lives and start thinking of all the times that we've been kind to ourselves, right? It's amazing to think of when did I really do what I love to do because I realize this walk in the park is important. I realize feeding the birds makes me happy. I realize trying and writing a poem is happy. I realize calling my good friend who listens to me makes me joyful, right? And it's important to write it down because it just makes us realize that we miss out on doing things that bring us inner joy. And they're very often very simple, they're not complicated. But giving time to ourselves is what will give us the energy then to look after possibly others or the environment. I jokingly say all of us have our smartphones these days, and we never ever forget to charge our devices. But how about charging ourselves? And how about realizing that this mind and body is all we have? And so looking after it is extremely critical for our own well being. Again, I remember the pandemic, and many times myself and close people I know have realized that this well being is what's pulled us through one of the most difficult parts of our lives. And I think at least my generation had never experienced something like this. I come from India where we have multiple challenges of hunger, challenges of disease, challenges of, loss of jobs and livelihood. And those of us who know that there is no harm in asking for help are the ones who've somehow been able to be a little more resilient and have been able to stay afloat. So, this aha moment of receiving kindness, giving kindness, and observing kindness for me has been magical. Because when I look at the times I've done this and I look at my list, I know that those were moments of bliss and joy that I cannot describe to anybody else. And it sometimes is I can't even explain to you, and if you force yourself to do that, you'll understand what I mean. Even the retail therapy or whatever else doesn't come close to this kind of inner joy. And so I'm glad, and thank you, Kind Academy, for putting the horse before the cart, and that is unabashedly putting self first where it comes to well being. Now, don't mistake what I'm saying for greed or selfishness. What I'm saying is looking after ourselves gives us the energy and the bandwidth to then possibly think about others, which also is important in our daily lives. Many of you are caregivers, many of you do things for your families, for the neighborhood, but without having petrol in our own tanks, those things will be difficult to do with joy in our hearts. And so that's the message that I resonate with, and I urge all of us to look at. UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education and Peace has also said that kindness matters, and that was the time the World Kindness Movement got really excited, because after 24 years we had this global body who says kindness matters. And if you go to their website, you'll see that they've said so much about kindness. I've been part of helping them collect the 1 million stories. We are on to 1.5 million now. And the number of people who've spoken about little acts that have brought them joy. The interesting thing is UNESCO is saying that kindness matters even to the sustainable development goals, because without compassion we cannot achieve these big lofty goals that are going to save us and the planet. And this little thing which everybody kind of says is so small, kindness is actually so big, and it does take a lot of courage to be kind to self, others. It is a courageous act, an act of mindfulness, an act to decide that I am going to put myself first, not because I'm selfish, because I matter. And coming home to kindness is a great way of saying that kindness begins with me, and I will with unabashedly recognize that it does me a lot and lot of good. So, having said all this, and absolutely delighted to spend some time with each of you, uh, I would encourage you to join the World Kindness Hour, which the World Kindness Movement has started as a group. And it's an hour to say, switch off your devices. We've been overexposed to digital technology, and sometimes it can get tiring. There is no screensaver can give me the same joy as actually walking, hearing the birds, and having the fresh breeze on my face, just seeing green grass. So it is an hour to say, come on, at least an hour. Keep time for yourself. And on the way, if you find someone else, you would be motivated to help them if they need it, because you would then do it joyfully. And then you might want to do something for your community joyfully, because you feel that whole spring in your step. And kindness is real. It's really real. It can't be virtual. So I end with that line, and I thank you for patiently listening to me. And I really urge you to look at the word kind and what it really means to each of us. Have a nice session. Bye bye.